Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ariana Moody. Today I will be teaching you guys how to train your dog. So who in here are dog lovers? Okay, looks like all of y'all. Me too. So what if I told you that training your dog isn't about obedience and control? It's about communication. Today I want to talk to you guys about the different methods of dog training techniques that I have learned. About a year ago, I trained for half a semester. I trained dogs at Texas A&M. They were retired federal bloodhound dogs, and so I spent a whole semester training them alongside experienced trainers and learned expert techniques. These techniques that I learned were regarding around animal welfare, and this included rejecting punishment-based techniques, using positive reinforcement, as well as allowing your dog the space and autonomy to want to learn and grow with you. To start off, the most important idea is rejecting punishment-based techniques. There are two types. The first I want to talk about is positive punishment. Positive punishment is when you are adding something undesirable to the dog in order to get them to do what you want them to do. And examples of these are adding choke collars, using the alpha roll, as well as simply just pulling them on the leash whenever they're tugging or something like that. Research actually shows from Frontiers in Veterinary Science that dogs trained with positive reinforcement perform better in all measures compared to those trained with positive punishment techniques such as e-collars, proving that e-collars cause unnecessary suffering without actually improving any behavior in the long run. The second technique I want to talk about is rejecting negative punishment. Negative punishment is when you're taking away something desirable for the dog, such as taking away a toy, putting them in a kennel, or removing your attention from them. Now, we do consider negative punishment better than positive, but we do want to refrain from both. This is because it doesn't build a safe space for you and your dog. It also weakens the trust between you and your dog, and it can also potentially hurt the dog, which goes completely against all animal welfare techniques. So now you guys might be asking, so what is the correct technique that we want to use when training our dog? And to that, I will say positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is when you reward the dog upon them doing a desirable action in order to increase the likelihood of this action happening again. The benefits to this is that it can strengthen the dog-owner bond, and the dog can start associating you with good things. This can build trust and communication between you and your dog. Here are some examples on the board of how that can look. So here you can see I signal sit to him. He looks and realizes that means sit, and then I reach in as soon as he sits for a treat and treat him. Here's how that can look in action. So you see she says sit, he sits, and then she immediately treats. But it's also important to not be confusing when you do this. You don't want to say sit, roll over, sit, and then you don't treat when they do sit, because then they're just confused. They don't know exactly what you're asking them to do. So it's important that you treat as soon as they even at least attempt to sit, or if they do sit. This encourages long-term training, and it also builds consistency when you're training. An example of how this can be used in like a real-world scenario is if you're yelling at your dog for jumping on somebody who just came in the house or a friend or something. Instead of yelling at them, you tell them sit. If they sit, then you can reward them with the attention that they were asking for, such as rubbing them, kissing them, whatever they were trying to ask for. Lastly, training isn't just about getting the dog to do what you want when you want them to do it. It's important for the dog to feel safe, encouraged, and as well as engaged in order to make them want to learn and interact with you. Positive learning environments and minimal distractions, as well as a safe space to play, such as this photo here, are very important to consider when trying to train your dog. It can help improve focus, build confidence, as well as lead to longer lasting results. You also want to consider overtraining your dog whenever you are training. Dogs perform their best when they're not scared, stressed, or confused, so frequency and duration of training matters a lot when you're training. This is because it can affect mental fatigue. It can also cause them to be frustrated or lead to unmotivation. A research published study in Animal Behavior Science found that dogs trained 1 to 2 times a day did a lot better than those trained daily. And spacing those lessons out rather than 3 times a day and spacing them out to just 1 time a day, 3 times a week, had far better results. Now, to wrap things up, I just want you guys to remember these 3 things. That's to reject punishment-based techniques, use positive reinforcement, and create a safe space for your dog to train at their own pace. Humane training is about safety, it's about respect, but most importantly, it's about communication. So the next time you want to train your dog, remember these ideas. It's not about getting your dog to sit, roll over, and stay. It's about building trust as well as building a confident companion animal relationship with your dog.